Ado-Ekiti, the capital of Ekiti State, one of the 36 states that make up the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In terms of political zone, Ekiti State is deemed to be in the southwest region of Nigeria. In terms of landmass, it has 6,353 square kilometers. It is a mainly upland state with a lot of hills. I like to call it the city of rolling hills. Now, come Saturday, June 21, 2014, the people of Ekiti State in this southwest region of Nigeria will be electing a new governor. The current governor, Dr. Kayode Fayemi's tenure ends at midnight on October 15, 2014. Of course, he is seeking a second term as governor. He is the governorship candidate of his party, the All Progressives Congress. What are the permutations for that election? With 2,195 polling units spread across 16 local government areas of the state, Dr. Fayemi sure has his work cut out for him. A lot of people think it is very difficult to dislodge an incumbent governor in Nigeria, but one candidate, a former governor himself, Ayo Fayose, who is the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, thinks that this election is his to win. Well, hello and welcome. This is 60 Minutes with me, Angela Jitumobi. Thank you for joining me on the program today. Now, on October 16, 2010, when he was sworn in as governor of Ekiti State, he unveiled an 8-point agenda which designed, he says, a roadmap to Ekiti recovery. He called it a collective rescue mission. He said the vision was clear. It would be a daunting task, but it wouldn't be insurmountable. He wanted to make poverty history in Ekiti State. Well, on June 21, 2014, he will be seeking mandate of his people for a second term in office as governor. So I'm here to ask him, has he delivered on that 8-point agenda? Does he think he deserves a second term from the people of Ekiti? Has he delivered on those promises? As his wife asserted to me that he promised and he delivered big time. Join me after the break. I'm counting down 60 minutes with Dr. John Kayode Fayemi, the current governor of Ekiti State in the southwest region of Nigeria. Welcome back. Welcome, Governor Fayemi. Thank you very much for coming back on the program with me.
Thank you for having me once again on 60 Minutes.
Yes. Well, I was reading through your 8-point agenda. You've been at it now 3.5 years. Do you think you've done enough on those 8 points? I just list them for the sake of the viewers who are watching. Governance, infrastructural development, modernizing agriculture, education and human capital development, healthcare services, industrial development, tourism, and gender equality and empowerment. On these 8, do you think you deserve a second term from people of Ekiti State?
At the risk of being a modest, Angela, absolutely. I think I've delivered. I think the evidence is independently verifiable. I think you can go out on the street and see in tangible, palpable manner what it is that we have done in the last 3.5 years. Of course, memory can be short. It's easy for people to now drive on solid roads and think it's always been like that. But we always try to jog the memories of our people by showing the before and the after in these 3.5 years.
Yes.
That's on infrastructure development. If you come to democratizing governance and doing development with our people, not to them, there's hardly any community you get to in Ekiti today of our 132 mainstream communities. that you would not see tangible evidence of what this government has done in the community in the last 3.5 years.
Yes.
And this is something that cuts across. It's not party dependent, it's not partisan in any way, it's just development with the people. And whether you talk of gender equality and empowerment, the evidence is there. Whether you talk of healthcare, what we promised, we have delivered. And some might even tell you that we've delivered beyond their expectation. In education, we've done what we promised our people. But have we done everything? Clearly we haven't. That's why I'm seeking second term, because we have established stability. What we wanted to do was a roadmap to Ekiti recovery.
Right.
You can only recover when something was totally down. Now we have recovered. We have stabilized. We have a basis for deepening growth
Yes.
in Ekiti State. And what we now need is consolidation of all that gains.
Are you worried about this election? Do you think, are you jittery? Do you think you will win? Are you worried that 18 candidates, 17 other people want to unseat you from the governor's seat?
It just simply tells you how much I have improved the quality of governance in this state, and how I have enhanced the credibility of the office. That's why you can have all this number of people interested in occupying the highest office in our state.
Yes.
And I don't blame them for that. All of us want good things. All of us want to dream big. But what I say to people is that this should not just be about personal aggrandizement. It should focus more on making a fundamental difference to the people of Ekiti State. And there's a key thing you have to do in that regard. What is it that Kayode Fayemi promised that he has not delivered? What is it that he has not done that you can do better? Those are the things that you really need to point out to the people. Because on the basis of the evidence before us,
Yes.
there's no how. If performance is the basis of the election, there's no how I'm not going to win this election. I am that confident to come out and tell you that I am not underrating other candidates. I'm not saying it's going to be a shoo-in,
Yes.
but I am telling you indubitably, unequivocally, that on the basis of my performance, if the election is about Ekiti
Yes.
and about the people who have benefited, the 25,000 people benefiting from Social Security, the 500,000 people who have benefited from the health missions, the 20,000 people who have benefited from the youth empowerment scheme, and they have people who are associated with them. The over 60,000 public servants who have benefited from 3 increases in their salaries in the last 3 years.
Yes.
The teachers who are benefiting from rural teachers allowance and core subjects allowance and pecuniary allowance, and the local government workers and the farmers and the cooperators.
Yes.
These are the people who will vote in the election, and the women.
Yeah, and I'm surprised you mentioned those, because 2 of the hurdles that I see before you, that to do with the council workers and the teachers as on education generally, a lot of people feel that you've lost the teachers with that development test brouhaha. They feel victimized. Some even say you're so elitist, you don't have a connection with the poorer people in Ekiti State.
Connection with poorer people, whatever you call poorer people,
Yes.
is not just paying lip service to connection. It's really doing things that better the lot of the less fortunate in society. And what you need to do if you want to talk about connection, is look at the ideological framework of our governance. It is directed, targeted at improving the lot of the vulnerable and the weak in our society. Everything we do in this government targets the weak, the vulnerable, those who are lacking in opportunities, those who need to be lifted up in society in order to be seen as worthy members of society.
But people say you're not free with money. A lot of the people say, you know, you come around, they expect a governor to give out something, a little dash here and there.
I give more than a little dash. I just give institutionalized dash. When I pay 5,000 naira to the average elderly person,
Yes.
who ordinarily might not have survived because of lack of basic necessities like food or shelter, I am dashing, but I'm dashing not in an irresponsible way. I am dashing not in a way to make that person lose the sense of dignity. I am dashing by saying to them, it is your right for society to look after you in your old age. It is not a privilege. It is not even a dash. It is your entitlement to be protected by your government in old age. So if I don't go out on the street and throw 200 naira to the Okada rider or to the person who is hailing me on the street, that does not mean I'm tight-fisted.
Yes.
It simply means I believe that there are structured ways of engaging my different publics.
Yes.
And I have other means of also assisting those people. It's not when I throw money at them, that is disrespectful. I can give them even more than what others would give them without making noise about it.
Yes.
And that I do more often than not.
Okay, and we'll stick with education now. Your predecessor, former Governor Kayode Fayemi, says that in your time, education has dipped. He says that when he was governor, the rating of the state as far as WAEC, West African Examinations Council exams, and the NECO exams, Ekiti State was performing better. And probably because you've been unable to manage the situation with the teachers who feel intimidated by your insistence on a test that at best they think is an opportunity and an avenue to sack teachers, may be responsible for that.
You know, opinion is always free, but facts are sacred.
Yes.
I don't want to engage in tittle-tattle over during my time I had this, I didn't have this. What statistics is being quoted? Who provided that information? This is independently verifiable information. Yes. Let us bring out the records from the various schools and then make a distinction between results procured via miracle centers and results that are produced under the toil and hard work of students. Because our education reform agenda is an integrated agenda. It's not just about teachers' assessments.
Yes.
The quality of teachers is, I would say, a tiny component of the overarching framework relating to education reform. It focuses on the environment in which these students are being taught, the learning environment, the teaching environment. When Mr. Fayose was governor, virtually all the schools were rickety. I knew what I made when I became governor and what I had to do to all the schools in the state. The evidence is also there for people to see. Throughout the time Kayode Fayose was governor, he never incentivized the teachers once with a salary raise. Not once. The same teachers that he's claiming to love, it is your actions that will demonstrate what you love. It's not the lip service you pay to this. I've just told you about the salaries increase thrice in 3.5 years of this government being in office.
Yes.
In addition to that, we have introduced new incentives to ensure that our children in the rural areas can also have the benefit of good teachers. We have recruited more teachers. Yes, we want teachers to be prepared in order to impart knowledge to our students because we feel that it's a continuous process. If we build your capacity as teachers, there also must be an opportunity for your students and your peers to assess you. There's nothing wrong with that. We will never apologize about that. Because for us, it is the improvement of our teachers and the improvement of our students that is the ultimate objective here. It's not...
Is it punitive?
There's nothing punitive about it. And the reason why I always say this is that we have recruited more teachers in this state during my time in office.
Yes.
And we have not sacked one teacher in this state.
In spite of all the brouhaha.
In spite of all the brouhaha you're talking about,
yes,
we have not sacked a single teacher in this state. And I challenge anyone to come up with anything contrary to that we have sacked a teacher. Of course, there is natural attrition.
Yes.
Teachers will retire. We can't stop that from happening. But if you also flout any regulation, there are standard ways of dealing with that. There are civil service procedures of dealing with that. You also cannot legislate against that.
Yes.
But we have not sacked any teacher on account of failing an examination or not. That's not the idea.
Yes.
What that test was development needs assessment. Which areas do you need to improve on?
Yes.
Not which areas are we going to use as an excuse to retrench you. Those are two different things.
Right.
And the Nigerian Union of Teachers in Ekiti cannot say they are averse to improving the lot of their teachers. And they know what we have done to improve that with capacity building, both locally and internationally.
Yes.
It's just that politicians being who we are, we always latch on to all manner of opportunistic agenda. And that basically is what Kayode Fayemi was doing when he said that.
Yeah.
But as per improvement, the improvement is there. Ekiti is on an upswing as far as public examination is concerned,
yes,
either at the lower level, the junior secondary school, or at the WASC senior secondary school examination.
I don't know if you saw that text message going around about your intention to sack civil servants who I have encouraged, in inverted commas here, who were encouraged to register as APC members. They're saying that if you don't support Fayemi's second term, you will abolish their leave bonuses.
Angela, what sense does that make? Ekiti civil servants are not stupid. They're probably some of the most intelligent civil servants you have anywhere in this country. And I must commend them from the way they've supported the work, the reforms. Yes, I have come with reforms. And reforms are not painless, but there is no gain without pain. The reality is that politicians like a saccharine mentality, and we like to push the goody-goody agenda,
yes,
because we want the people to have a feel-good factor. There's nothing wrong with that. The reality is often more complicated than that. And people also reward integrity. They reward honesty in a politician. Of course, now Ekiti people know, and they will tell you, if he's not going to do it, he's not going to say it.
yeah.
If Fayemi says it, he would do it. Why would anybody write that? It's a season of lies. Leave bonus is often part of a contract of any employee,
yes,
and it is usually 10% of your basic salary. So whoever wants to abolish your leave bonus wants to abolish your employment. So can I abolish your leave bonus without abolishing your employment? It doesn't make any sense. But they hope that this is the Goebbelsian logic, a lie repeatedly told, hopefully would acquire the character of the truth if it is not challenged. But we will not let it lie low. We would continue to let our people know that this is the agenda of these people. And it's interesting, 3 weeks to election, APC is the only party with a manifesto that the people can hold us to task on. No other party has come out with their agenda for Ekiti. The only agenda they have, Labour, PDP, is to attack anything that Fayemi wants to do or that Fayemi is doing, or to even ape in their own policy on the hoof,
Yes.
policy on the rostrum that they do, without costing, without analysis. What Fayemi has done is what they tell the people they're going to do. Our people are not stupid. They know that they have no agenda for them. I have come out. I had an agenda before. It was an 8-point agenda. You talked about it. And I can point to specific, measurable ways in which I have accomplished the tasks.
Okay, we'll take our first break now. When we come back, I want to take you up on that manifesto. Are you sticking with the 8-point agenda, or will you be bringing forth a new agenda for the people of Ekiti State? So join us again after the break. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, it's 60 Minutes with me, Angela Ajetumobi, and today on my hot seat is the candidate for the All Progressives Congress in the governorship elections in Ekiti State, Dr. Kayode Fayemi. So in 2010, you unveiled this roadmap to Ekiti recovery with an 8-point agenda. Are you sticking with that, or you're bringing a new agenda?
Oh, pretty much we're sticking with our agenda. We are a social democratic party with a heavy focus on welfarist initiatives, because we believe that poverty is still rife amongst our people, and our overarching vision is to ensure that poverty disappears ultimately. But in doing that, there would always be things that we have done, that we have reviewed, and that we've seen gaps that we want to improve upon. That clearly is going to happen. We're sticking to our 8-point agenda. Take, for example, our agenda on free education and human capital development.
Yes.
That agenda remains, but one thing that we're adding, if Ekiti people give us the mandate to come back, is free meals in primary schools, which we don't do now. For us, that's an economic tool as well as a social tool. Social tool
is it
social because it would help the young people that we are going to focus on. These are primary school kids that are going to benefit from the free school meals. And we have roughly 150, 180,000 of them in the state. That improves the nutrition and their own physical development. It also helps them focus more. Because if you have a child who has not eaten before he gets to school, he's not listening to whatever the teacher is saying. And we feel that we can at least take care of one meal a day, the mid meal, if you call it that, that would enable them to concentrate. We also feel that scientifically, statistically, it's going to increase enrollment. Enrollment is good in Ekiti. We are the highest in the entire country right now, but we can still do with more. There are people in the farmsteads, for example, who are still not getting the benefit that we expect everyone to get, because education is not only free under our administration, it is compulsory. And the Child Rights Act that we have makes it imperative for parents to ensure that their children go to school.
So one of the ways is
that's one of the ways.
Getting a meal?
It's an attraction also to the parents. It saves them the responsibility of having to worry. What's going to happen to my child when he or she gets to school? That's just a variation. It's still the same policy, but we have, on the basis of evidence before us in the last 3.5 years, we have decided to add that. And it would also enhance the work that our young farmers, young commercial farmers are doing, because we'll use eggs from their poultry, we will use fish from their farms, we're going to use the materials, produce the rice, and also our food vendors would find a role in that value chain that is going to develop around the free meal that would be offering.
Have the food banks as well.
We have the food banks. So that's just one example. Another example under our education policy is our knowledge zone. The Ekiti Knowledge Zone is going to be the trigger for the full functional development of our human capital. As I've often said, we have a lot of people who are educated, but we don't have enough people who are skilled. And we've decided that the knowledge economy is what would serve as the revolutionary vehicle for transforming the Ekiti project.
That's your own oil here.
That's our own oil, because we're known as the education state. We're known as the fountain of knowledge. Yes. But it has not really translated into, if you like, economic growth in the manner that we would like it to. And that's why the Ekiti Knowledge Zone is tied to where we want to put an airport. It's tied to medical tourism in our state. It's tied to education tourism. And it's tied to the whole fiber optic cable that we're laying across the state. The vision is that it's going to give our people functional jobs in the information and communication technology sector, which is the growth sector that is there. And you don't have to go to Lagos to run a successful IT company if all the components are there. A dimension to that in our infrastructure development is our independent power project, which is going to come on stream also during the next term of the administration. In tourism, for example, one of the things that we've done successfully this time around is that we have a master plan for each of the area. We have a tourism master plan, we have an energy master plan, we have a water master plan. And these are things that give a 20, 25 years perspective on where we want Ekiti to be. So we have something we're looking forward to. And we also have processes and procedures of how to get there.
And on projects that you've inherited, have you discriminated in completing those projects? I mean, you know, from some of your predecessors, especially from Governor Shegun.
The evidence is there. Virtually all the projects that we inherited from the administration of former Governor Shegun are projects that we have either delivered or we're still delivering. We have not abandoned any. In fact, the word abandonment of project has disappeared from the lexicon here in Ekiti, because we feel that it is really not right for any government to abandon a project simply because it was started by your predecessor. That's not governance. Governance is a continuum, and somebody would come after you. You are not going to finish every work. So if you go by the logic that what is not completed you will not touch, then you're just wasting the resources of the state, because it's the funds of the state used in implementing the project. I mean, you may have disagreements over the way and manner the contract was put together. You may have issues with the deliverables. You can review, but I don't think it's right to just abandon projects. And that's why I haven't abandoned any project. In fact, majority of the projects, I kept the contractors.
That you inherited?
That I inherited. Not just the project, I also kept the contractors.
I suppose congratulations are in order. I mean, with the defection of Shegun to the APC, a lot of people thought that was a masterstroke, because he'll be moving to the party, you know, with his supporters from the PDP. So have any promises been made by you towards enticing him to come? Were you responsible for enticing him to come into the APC?
Well, Angela, I don't know what you mean by enticing him. Governor Shegun spoke at the mega rally where he announced his intention following previous discussions we've had. And he was very specific about what informed his decision. For him, he said it was important that we build a new platform for change in our state, and that anyone that he could not recommend to his children as role model, he would never support the person to become the governor of this state. By extension, he of course indicated that Governor Fayemi has done well. He wasn't talking of perfection. He's not saying he's perfect, but he's definitely delivered on things in the state. And I think it's a statement about Governor Shegun rather than a statement about whatever promises.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, there were no underhand deals between Governor Shegoni.
When you say it's a statement about him, what do you mean by that?
Basically that he is a leader. Because if you want to think in the Nigerian parlance, in the Nigerian way of doing things, it was far easier for Governor Oni to do a deal with the PDP. Yes. After all, PDP is the ruling party. He could go to President Jonathan and say, well, you know, we're not happy about this, but the only way we're going to tolerate it is for you to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for me and my supporters. Yes. And he would have probably been given a serious hearing. Yes. He's been a former governor, and he has his tentacles in the state. And the party, desirous of winning, would want to have him on their side rather than against them. Yes. But he eschewed all that, he shunned it, and insisted that he wanted to do the right thing. I think it's just exhibited what people used to know us for in Ekiti. When they say, you know, those Ekiti people, they are strange people because they're principled. Yes. Some will say stubborn, but I think that's just what he has demonstrated, that you can disagree without being disagreeable when it comes to the fundamentals about the values of a society and about the future of a society. Because in that speech, he talked about the past, he talked about the present, and also talked about the future of the children of this state who deserve to be beneficiaries of good governance.
So why do you think that people think there's a disconnect between you and the ordinary man on the streets of Ekiti? Why is that?
Perception. People...
Is it because you have a PhD?
Look, I get this talk about PhD and being an academic and being this and that a lot.
Yes.
I don't want to apologize for the benefit of having a good education. That's what Ekiti is known for. Yes. We've always had a good education here. It's only recently that things became pear-shaped, and that's what we're trying to correct now, because you have people who came into the scene and managed to force-feed the people with the notion that it was all right to be an illiterate. Yes. It was fine not to have a decent pedigree, not to have antecedents that are clear, that are consistent with the values that we promote in this society. Yes. I'm not going to apologize that my antecedents are very well known in this state. You can trace my roots. You can trace the schools. You can trace what I have done. You know my pedigree. You are not going to get into any debate about whether I went to the school I claimed I went or not. So I am not going to apologize for that. Yes. The bottom line is the man on the street also wants a leader he can look up to. The man on the street wants a mentor. The man on the street, yes, in the short term, he may enjoy the cheap populism of you sitting down with him and drinking Gary or Bolly and say, yes, I was with the governor. If you keep doing that every day, the man will start wondering, is he really the governor? Or he doesn't have any work to do, he just comes here to sit with me and say he's Ore Mekunu. But as I always say, if you are a Mekunu and somebody says he's your friend, stand back and ask yourself, how has this person made my life better? I've just told you about teachers. Yes. In 3.5 years of Governor Ayo Fayose being in office, the lot of the teachers did not improve one jot. Materially, the lot of tourism did not improve one jot. In fact, Ikogosi, all the things there were carted away. Governor Fayose prides himself more often than not on roads. The roads he constructed were the worst roads in this state. Roads that Governor Adebayo constructed, some of them still stand till today in terms of quality. The roads constructed under Governor Fayose, most of them were washed away after one rainy season. So if that is what he has to sell to the people, yes, the people are not fools, particularly Ekiti people. They're discerning, even when they are rustic and rural, they always have people around them. There's hardly a home you go to in Ekiti where you don't have a graduate who can give you a basic understanding of what is going on. So when people say, oh, he does not connect, he is not a grassroots person, you're going to tell that to the old women who will wait in the hot sun for me when I'm campaigning and refuse to go until they see Fayemi, who has been taking care of me. Without him, I probably would have died, and they would insist on praying for me at campaign rallies. You're going to say that to the road transport workers who are solidly behind this administration because of the benefits they've received. You will say that to the youth who have taken up agric, the fish farmers, the poultry farmers, the cassava farmers. So what is this grassroots? The people.
Yes.
If it is the people, cheap populism does not do it for them. It's food on their table. Ultimately, that will do it. Because, yes, temporary excitement might come. If you have an entertainer, people love entertainment. But at the end of the day, they ask themselves, what's my takeaway from this? And when it comes to crunch, that's the question people would ask themselves. When they want to thumb that ballot, they will ask themselves that question. What has been my takeaway
from all this?
From all this.
Join us again after the break. Welcome back. My concluding moments now with Dr. Kayode Fayemi. Now, the merger of universities here, I spoke with Dr. Eniola Ajayi, Commissioner for Environment, and she said that the merger was one of the greatest things ever done by this administration. But your rival, the Labour Party candidate, has promised to reverse that merger. He says that within 4 months of becoming governor, he will do that. And you know, so it got me thinking, how can one person want a merger and see so much positivity there and another doesn't?
Well, don't ask me that question. I would urge you again to look for independent authorities on this. And I believe the most independent authority as far as this goes is the National Universities Commission that has recommended the merger in Ekiti as a case study for other states who want to engage in this. If you want to improve the quality of your universities and you're struggling with maintaining 3 or 4 universities, go and look at what Ekiti did. That's why I said, don't ask me. Ask Professor Okoje, the Executive Secretary of NUC, and his team, who actually monitored what happened and came to that conclusion. Now, there is a difference between a politician offering you a promissory note and a politician that has a cashed check. There's a whole world of difference. A politician with promissory notes would say anything, and he knows that these are rostrum promises. Nobody's going to challenge him to give an analysis of how he's going to do this. And what precisely did the governor do that was wrong?
Has the ranking of the Ekiti State University improved?
Absolutely. From 200 to 17 on the Webometric ratings.
From 200
to number 17 within the space of 3 years. And don't take my word for it. Take a drive. Go to the university and see what is happening there. Not only has it received more accreditations of its courses than ever before, it has even established new programs.
Whatever happened to the College of Medicine?
Well, Governor Fayose cancelled it. Graciously, Governor Shegun started it. And we have continued on that path because we felt it was the right thing to do.
Is it accredited now?
It is going through its accreditation process right now.
Okay. And I understand also that more courses have been accredited.
More courses have been accredited. Now, the other point I wanted to make is there is nothing that says in future none of these colleges cannot become a full-fledged university again. But that is something that will be based on objective assessment and on opportunities that may also be available. Because part of my reasons for merging university was that the state did not have enough resources to run 3 supposed universities that are not better than glorified secondary schools.
Right.
And that as somebody who comes from a university environment, I'm an academic and I don't pretend about it.
Yes.
I know what a good university is. I've had the benefit of going to some of the best universities, both here in Nigeria and around the world.
Yes.
So I have no illusions about what I have to do in order to run a very good 21st century university. I know it is capital intensive. And I know that the state has not got that adequate resources to maintain 3 universities. Now, I've just talked about the Ekiti Knowledge Zone. It may well be the case that we're able to convince the Gates Foundation,
Yes.
convince Microsoft, IBM, any of these giants in industry. After all, as part of our deal with Samsung, Samsung established an engineering academy here. It is possible that we're able to convince any of these private sector institutions to support us in the establishment of, say, for instance, an Institute of Science and Technology in the format of an MIT.
Yes.
Again, and we say this is going back to Ifaki, where the University of Science and Technology used to be.
So that the community doesn't feel deprived.
Deprived, because without prejudice to the community, we don't have any objection to spreading the benefits of government all around. But that is something that has to be carefully planned and implemented. It's not policy on the hoof. It's not policy on the rostrum that my friends are doing. That's why I said, bring out your policy, let us scrutinize it, cost it, and see whether you're a serious person or not. But they don't even have policies. They go around criticizing what Fayemi is doing.
And what is Fayemi doing on water? That's another criticism that we've been reading in the papers recently, the inability of your administration to provide potable water for people in Ekiti State.
Well, I don't think that's correct. The rot that we have experienced in the water sector is a long-term rot that is not going to be easily addressed. I mean, there are people who want quick fixes. I am not a quick fix politician. Yes, there are instances where we can put water treatment plants, and we've done quite a couple. We've put about 6 water treatment plants in various communities, in Efon, in Idoile, in Erigion, in Ipole Iloro, in Okemesi. We've put water treatment plants fully functioning in all those places. They don't have problems of water. But we have a dam, an old dam, that has been decrepit because of lack of maintenance over the years. This dam serves about 10 local governments. The Ero Dam. I've spent the better part of the last 2-3 years, of course, looking for resources to make sure that we improve the turnaround maintenance. We undertake the turnaround maintenance of this dam, lay additional pipes, which we're doing all around the state now, and this will take time. And what we're doing in the short term is to put a variety of alternative options, solar boreholes and pump boreholes all over the communities that are in need of water but don't have adequate pipe-borne water supply. So those are remedial measures. The ultimate goal of the administration is to ensure that we provide access to virtually all communities, and we're achieving it.
And just before we go, I wanted you, in the way that the Americans do their own style of politicking, to say something nice about the top contenders for this seat, your rivals, as the case may be, who do you consider, for instance, to be your toughest rival as you go into these elections?
You know, I said earlier, Angela, that I don't underestimate. I over-prepare so that I would not face any surprises.
Yes.
All my contenders are tough. I consider them tough. People always talk about 3 top contenders. Anybody who can take away the vote, even if it is 1 vote,
Yes.
is a tough contender. Besides, these are people that I believe, in their own way, are committed to Ekiti, want Ekiti to improve.
To be better.
They would obviously like to occupy the most important seat in the state in order to do the best they can. Sadly, I do not think they are the right people for these times in Ekiti. But I do believe that they are patriots, they are committed, they are interested. They may not have the ideas, they may not have the wherewithal, they may not have the integrity to occupy high office, and at least in the case of one of them, his integrity is seriously questioned. I'm not going to be the judge and jury of that. Yeah. He has matters to deal with even now over his integrity. That's for him and Ekiti people to deal with. The important thing for me is that I am not going to dismiss anyone as unimportant. Right. I am not going to suggest that they do not believe in Ekiti or want to do well for Ekiti. But all of us dream. Dreams are nice. Yes. And we all dream that we're going to become a billionaire tomorrow, or we're going to fly in Concorde. I mean, we all have wish lists. This is what they have. They don't have policies, they have wish lists of what they would like to see.
Do you think any one of them will be a spoiler for you? I'm thinking now in terms of the American system, where one person like Ross Perot may split the votes and deprive you of some crucial votes as you go into the election.
Again, in politics, you never say never. Yeah. But it's also helpful to deal with facts. If you were to take Governor Fayemi, exciting politician, prides himself on populism. And there are clearly some who will be carried away by such populism. There's no question about that. But the bottom line is, who have I lost to him? And who have I, meaning APC, yes, who have we lost to PDP?
They're all talking confidently.
No, everybody talks confidently. Everybody talks confidently. Even the 15 that you seem not to reckon with, yes, they're talking confidently that they're going to win this election. But at the end of the day, only one person will win this election. The important thing is to ensure that the election is free, it's fair, it's credible. That is all that needs to happen. Let the best person win the election on the basis of credibility. As for boasting, you know, it's a Thomas Gray poem. It's the boast of heraldry, the pomp and power. Yes. In Ulysses, you would always have people who would have larger than life impressions of themselves, really exaggerated notions of their importance. Don't forget, they've all been 3 elections here. Yeah. Governor Fayemi, just barely 3 years ago, was in a senatorial election in this state.
And he was supporting you.
That's a third of the state. Yes. He ran in a senatorial election against the candidate of my party, Senator Femi Ojudu now. And he lost that election very, very significantly. My friend and brother also left APC, but the question is not so much that he left APC. The question is who went with him in APC. I mean, you're dealing with similar situations in other states now. No one of import left with Opeyemi Bamidele, not even the councillor in his ward, not even the chairman of his ward. But I wish Ekiti well. We deserve a government that would be truly accountable to our people. And there are lessons to learn, even from some of the gaps that we've noticed in the last 3.5 years, even from some of the criticisms that have come from the opponents. I mean, I've learned lessons. Going around the states, I've also picked feedback that I think would make sure that we do better in a new administration. There are lessons, and it's clear that Ekiti is going to definitely have a government of unity. And I hope our friends, if I eventually succeed in coming back, I hope our friends will find it within themselves to join the train, as long as it is the development train for Ekiti.
Thank you very much for coming on the program, and I wish you all the best as the elections approach. We will be here with you for the election period.
Thank you for having me on your show once again. It's always a delight and a pleasure to come on 60 Minutes with Angela.
Well, that's it for this week. I suppose a lot of you will be sending your messages by Twitter to Dr. Kayode Fayemi as he goes into the elections. He will be pleased to hear from you, whatever it is, if it's criticism, if it's praise, and also I'm sure you will let me know. Like 60 Minutes with Angela on Facebook. Alternatively, follow me on Twitter, Angela at 60 Minutes. I'm Angela Ajetumobi. I thank you for the pleasure of your company.